For the first time in this conflict, the Iranian military claims to have bombarded a THAAD air defense system in West Asia. Tehran now says it knocked out some of America's most advanced air defenses in a single wave of strikes, potentially inflicting billions of dollars in losses and exposing the vulnerability of Washington's regional military shield. According to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, its latest precision strikes targeted Muwaffaq Salti Air Base in Jordan, destroying a THAAD radar system, a Patriot air defense battery, and a CRAM radar, while setting fuel facilities ablaze and decimating a helicopter equipment depot and maintenance facility. Those are Tehran's claims, and they have not been independently verified. But if they were ever confirmed, this would mark the first reported successful strike on a THAAD system during this clash. And that would be a major development, because THAAD is one of the most sophisticated missile defense systems America fields. A single battery costs roughly $1 to $1.8 billion, and it exists for one purpose: to intercept ballistic missiles at high altitude before they reach what they are aimed at. Iran also claims it damaged a Patriot battery, another critical layer of American missile defense, where a complete battery can run around $1.1 billion, with each advanced PAC-3 MSE interceptor costing about $4 million. Add the CRAM system, which protects bases from incoming rockets, artillery, and mortars, and whose radars alone can cost $10 to $15 million. Stack those figures together, and if the claims ever proved accurate, the financial losses would run into the billions. And understand what kind of base this is. Muwaffaq Salti is considered one of the key command hubs for U.S. military operations across the Middle East. It hosts the U.S. Air Force's 332nd Air Expeditionary Wing and is home to nearly 4,000 American troops. It is regularly used to operate MQ-9 Reaper drones, surveillance aircraft, helicopters, transport planes, and special operations forces. And critically, because it sits farther from Iran than most American bases in the Gulf, it was generally considered harder to reach. That was its advantage. Distance was supposed to be its defense. Then came the imagery. Once considered virtually untouchable, one of America's safest air bases is now reportedly damaged far more heavily than first reported. Early accounts indicated limited damage, but fresh satellite imagery, analyzed by the open-source intelligence group EGY-OSINT, paints a very different picture. According to that analysis, multiple hardened aircraft shelters, drone facilities, maintenance buildings, and other key military infrastructure were destroyed in what appears to have been a highly precise missile strike. This is not an Iranian statement. It is independent open-source analysis of publicly available images, which is a different category of evidence entirely, even if it is not an official confirmation. The details in that analysis are striking. At least 3 to 4 hardened aircraft shelters, believed to house MQ-9 Reaper drones, appear to have been destroyed. The imagery also seems to show 2 MQ-9 drones parked outside their shelters, suffering direct damage. The Reaper is one of America's most valuable intelligence, surveillance, and strike platforms, and the US has already lost dozens of them over the past few years during operations involving Iran and Yemen. If more were destroyed here, it could temporarily affect American reconnaissance and precision strike capability across the region. Hardened shelters exist precisely so that this cannot happen. They are built to survive what lands on them. But the most sensitive part of the analysis involves the people. The satellite imagery indicates that troop accommodation areas were also hit, and here the claims end and the confirmations begin. The Department of Defense has now officially identified 3 American soldiers killed during the Iranian strike on Muwaffaq Salti. First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan, 25 years old, Private Gonzalez, 19, and a Sergeant, 28, who had initially been listed as missing before the Pentagon confirmed he is believed to have been killed. The investigation remains ongoing. Separately, the Department of War identified Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton, killed in Iraq during the controlled detonation of a downed Iranian drone. That incident was unrelated to the Jordan strike, but it underscores the risks American forces face across the region. With these losses, Washington's death toll in the conflict with Iran has reached 18. Iran, for its part, has released its own satellite imagery, showing what it says were the intended targets before the attack. Those images highlight aircraft hangars, maintenance facilities, logistics buildings, and support infrastructure, suggesting the operation was designed to reduce the base's operational capability rather than simply crater its runway. Notice what that means. A runway can be repaired in days. Maintenance facilities, spare parts, hangars, and the logistics chain behind an air wing cannot. Whether or not every claim in Tehran's list is accurate, the target selection itself is a statement. Iran says it is not trying to make a hole in the ground. It says it is trying to take an air base out of the fight. And this is where the deeper problem for Washington appears, and it does not depend on believing a single Iranian claim. Consider the arithmetic. A THAAD battery costs well over $1 billion. A Patriot battery, more than $1 billion. Each PAC-3 interceptor, around $4 million. Now weigh that against ballistic missiles and drones that Iran builds domestically at a fraction of the price and fires in waves. Even a perfect defense loses this exchange over time because every interceptor launched has to be replaced, and the replacements arrive slowly. That is the mathematics that has quietly shaped this entire war, long before anyone argued about what a satellite photo shows. So let us be precise about where the evidence stands. Claimed and unverified, the destroyed THAAD radar, the damaged Patriot battery, the CRAM radar, and the billions in losses. Independently analyzed, but not officially confirmed, the destroyed hardened shelters and the damaged Reapers, based on open-source satellite imagery. Confirmed by Washington itself. 3 American service members killed at Muwaffaq Salti, a 4th killed in Iraq, and a total toll of 18. If those assessments are even partly accurate, the strike shows how modern precision-guided ballistic missiles are becoming capable of penetrating hardened military infrastructure. And it raises a question that goes far beyond one base in Jordan. How vulnerable have large fixed air bases become in an era of long-range precision weapons? Step back, and this is the real story of the night. For decades, American power in this region rested on a simple assumption that its bases were sanctuaries. That distance, hardened shelters, and layered air defenses made them places from which force could be projected without being received. Muwaffaq Salti was supposed to be among the safest of them, farther from Iran than the Gulf installations, protected by the most advanced systems ever fielded. Tonight, its shelters are being examined in satellite photographs, its dead have been named by the Pentagon, and its defenses are the subject of an argument Washington is not winning cleanly. For military planners, this is not about one strike in Jordan. It is about whether traditional air bases, once considered relatively secure, can still survive in a conflict where precision ballistic missiles are more accurate, more powerful, and much harder to stop. And the countries watching most closely tonight are not in Washington. They are the ones that host American power. Every Gulf capital that has ever pointed to a Patriot battery or a THAAD system as proof that its skies were protected is now studying the same satellite images and asking the same quiet question. If the most advanced shield ever built could not keep one base untouched, what exactly is protecting ours? That is the doubt Iran has been working to plant since this war began, and it does not require a single one of Tehran's damage claims to be true. The mere argument over whether the shield held is itself the victory, because deterrence lives or dies on belief, and belief is exactly what is cracking. A base was hit, soldiers were named, and the myth of the untouchable fortress took a blow that no press release can fully repair. Whatever the final assessment shows, the region has already seen enough to start recalculating. The world is watching, and so far, neither side is blinking. Subscribe to WLA for daily geopolitical analysis.